Everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript party here, and just hanging out, writing some code. Rhett's out in the living room, and yeah, um, we made pretty good progress this morning. I normally don't do two in a day, but I didn't do one. I think it was Tuesday because I had to go into work. That's the first time this whole year I've had to go into the office, which was pretty cool because we do have to pay to go to the office. So it's a $10 parking fee. Um, I could pay $40 a month, and then I can park unlimited. But it doesn't make any sense if I want to only going to go in a few times in a year. Anyways, I got our delete button working. I think that looks pretty nice. The colors I think are pretty cool. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that, but um, that's what we have. I got it wired up so that we know the ID. We made the observation that it is kind of interesting that um, for every one of these you create, you end up with 9 or 7 other IDs for all the various things because we generated ID for all kinds of things. So that's interesting to know. It'd be something to kind of pay attention to. But so at this point, what we get one of the nice things, I guess, about the sort of not using signals. Well, no, that's not true because the signal is, so this is our signal, right? And UI service render signal is the service, that's where the signal gets sent. I don't think we want to make any changes in there. Add viz, get base. Well, maybe we do because this apparently is. Okay, so I guess it makes sense to do it in here because we actually, I guess when we create a visualization, we call this function. So now I'm starting to kind of think, oh, okay, that was the intention, was that anything that from the UI that did stuff would then go through this thing, and then I guess we would publish it. Um, I guess some things care about the ST rendered ID signal, and it gets the list. I guess this manages all of the signal things. So that is interesting. ST renderer service. ST renderer service. That's how we get our renders, and then huh. So that's what we do. Um, get base renderer. So we get a renderer ID. So we're dealing with renderer IDs here, but I feel like that is weird to me. Architecturally, well, okay, so this does happen to me all the time, over and over again. Is I always think that something else. I think is renderer. I think maybe the renderer is the top of the. Go to definition. I always forget that the renderer is the create animation. Base render. It's been a while since we've been in here. So this is where we create a scene. Yeah, I always think the scenes are the top. This happens over and over again, but the renderer is the top, not the scenes. Get renderers. So when we create a render, we get a base render, and I guess this actually creates one and returns the ID that it just created. So when we delete a renderer, I guess that's, okay, so app tabular layout. Oh, it is renderer. See, I thought it was the layouts. I do that all the time. So, yeah, so I guess we aren't deleting a visualization, we're deleting a renderer. Right? So where did I even get? That is crazy. Delete renderer. And then we'll come over here and delete render. And I remember when we in the other application, I had been working down in the weeds, and then I was shocked like a year later when it was like, oh crap, the top is not the scene, it's the renderer. The renderer is the top thing. So we want to delete a renderer. But it looks like I'd like to do all, it seems like at some point I came into the conclusion that the UI service should be the one that um, that accepts commands from the renderer. I mean, from the UI. So let's do this. This dot UI service dot delete renderer, and we're going to send it the renderer ID. All right, so delete renderer. And so now we want to go to the UI service. I think I could just right click on this, go to definition. And say, why did I call this add viz? I should have called this add renderer. Oh, Lord. I mean, like, I'm not adding a visualization, I'm adding a renderer. Delete renderer. And it's renderer ID st. Which is a number. And for now, it will return, it returns a Boolean. And return true. And then basically, I'm just going to just make sure everything's wired up. This is the kind of thing that, like, literally 99 times out of 100, it's wired up fine. So it's the sense is that it's a waste of time to do this thing, but it really isn't, because the one time that it isn't wired up, you can spend hours trying to figure out why things aren't working. So it's just so much easier to okay, so that is wired up properly. Now it looks like in the renderer service we want to delete the renderer. And then it looks like we're going to want to do something along these lines. So this, actually, all of this is publishing, right? That's all this. All this is. And why did I? Let's just do this. Render. And just freaking go to, just fix it now. Again, this is a perfect example of I'll hold the shift button down and close it. This is a perfect example of something that I would definitely not want to I probably wouldn't want to do this. Add render. I wouldn't want to do this in a professional environment because in all likelihood you're going to break other people's stuff. Their You're going to break their what am I trying to think of? You're going to break their commits by changing some foundational piece like that. But obviously, since I'm working all by myself, it makes a lot of sense to just fix it. Okay, and then I think this is a good refactor. So I'm just going to call this publish render change. And this is going to return a Boolean. So this is definitely going to affect our unit tests. And then we'll just say return true. We'll just make sure that that works. It should, yeah. Add viz. So it showed up, so that means that that works still. Okay, so now we want to do this st render delete render. And now let's go to our renderer service. Let's go to and basically what we want to do is we're going to want to delete this stuff. I wonder if I'm even using the renderer IDs and what the heck I'm doing with those. Curious. Control. So this is where it, well, renderer ID signal, right? See where that is used. So it doesn't look like I use that anywhere. So it looks like we can just get rid of this, get rid of this. Again, this is not something I'd want to do in a production environment. With production code where I'm working with other people, this would probably be kind of a jerk move to do to the rest of your teammates. One of them may want to use the IDs. Okay, so then I think I have a function in here. Yeah, I don't think I need this anymore. I just had a Red Bull, so I'm wondering if that's why I'm being a little bit more aggressive than I would normally be. All right, so that is working. So let's go back. Well, let's just double check. At this point, I actually think it's probably worthwhile to run the end-to-end tests. Dot open, because it's like, did I break something when I removed those things? I don't think I did. Like, all common sense tells me nothing broke. But sometimes common sense isn't right. Sometimes it's actually wrong. So I kind of would like to see if, I like just to run through the basics. It'll be interesting to see because this thing takes forever to run, to open. I wonder if at some point I'll just have it always open. I think it's like very unfortunate for Cyprus that probably just as they would have been like the answer to so many people's problems, the whole friggin' system just collapsed. Oh, that's cool. They have the name of the branch in there. It'll come back though. I think it'll come. It always seems to come back. Um, Whenever things are really good in software development, everybody always thinks um, it'll always be good. They have all these reasons why. Oh yeah, it's always going to be good. And when things are bad, they always think it's going to be stay bad forever. Um, I mean, I do think that computer programming will be forever changed. It'll never be the same after AI. But like, I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to talk about. He was an electrical engineer, and he used to work on a lot of high tech stuff. And he used to say that he used to describe the whole process of like they would have all these flow charts and stuff for how their electrical, like their missiles and their rockets and satellites and all that were supposed to work, but they would have it all on flow charts, and then they would um, hand the flow charts over to the computer programmers, and then the computer programmers would convert the flow charts into code. Um, oh, that looks cool. Um, but now, you know, us computer programmers, it's on us to figure out all those flows and stuff. It didn't used to be a computer programming um, thing, but then it just became so trivial creating programs compared to having to set up all the cards and all that so that it could compile and do all the things you wanted to do. Like they would have these stacks of cards that they would feed into this machine, and then that's how the they didn't have a keyboard. They had these cards that would do it, and then it got to where, well, you could just type it in, and then they're like, we don't need programmers anymore because we'll just have the engineers just do it themselves. We can cut the programmers out of it, and it clearly did not work out that way. So that's good. So it looks like everything works fine. All right, so now let's get our delete. I think I commented it out. I think it's in the UI service. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to our renderer service. And then I think it was called delete. Silly goose. Okay, so there's that. And this is going to return a Boolean. Return true. And then this is a number. And then let's see. Just make sure that's wild. Alert. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then we'll add a renderer, add a viz. That is. See, for the user, it's a visualization. That's what they're creating. But for the back, or not the back end, but for the code, it's a renderer. We're creating and deleting renderers. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're down here. Now, I I think it may just be literally as simple as doing this, because I don't, yeah, see so this is the only reference we have to it is in here. So it seems like I could just delete that. And this to me is just always took me years and years and years. It was like kind of thing that I would just learn over and over and over again and just forget because it's just so different than any other thing in JavaScript. I believe you just say delete. And then, like, what else do you do that's, I guess, return true? Const. I don't know. It's weird. It's an action, but so is return. And this is an assignment action. I don't know why, but for some reason, this delete, the way of deleting things, just never felt right to me. So let's see. Oh, it didn't work. Is there a console? So there didn't look like there's anything. What if we change? Ah, so something still exists. Even though the ST renderer is gone. Let's see, let's go back to this view. But this thing, whatever this is, still exists. Is there still, I wonder if there's still a canvas there. No, just the viz. The viz is the only thing that is gone. Okay, so we're deleting a renderer, but that's not deleting the visualization. And the visualization gets created because of the renderers. I believe that's how that works. Right, like it goes through ST renderers, and for some reason we still have an ST renderers even though we just deleted the renderer. So that tells me that we probably have a view children visualization service, and then ST renders sends in this ST render signal. Go to definition. ST render signal does this publish, which is supposed to get this ST render service. It's an empty array. Get renders. Go to definition. Object renders dictionary. Let's see, console.log. This ST renders dictionary. Pretty sure we're going to learn something here. Okay, so we add one. So this is our dictionary, one, and it's got this renderer ID in there. Then we delete it. Okay. Don't understand what just happened. Okay, so it's supposed to republish, right? So let's go back to UI service. And let's just say console log publishing. And see if that, oh, we don't ever freaking publish it. Silly rabbit. I don't think that's going to fix anything, but it's definitely won't work without that, but still should have, when we changed, it should have still fixed it, you know. So add viz, delete. So publish doesn't ever happen. Oh, I didn't hit delete. Let's see, once we published, it went back. Now let's see if we go back over here, if we end up with the, yeah, that's pretty wild. That is weird. Okay, so something didn't quite work right. So let's see. And it might have just been clicking, or it might have actually been, okay, so it was just me clicking. So delete seems to be working. Now let's see if we add, okay, so it's all gone. So let's see if we add one. And then let's see if we go over here. I see it's in the second spot. And that is weird, because there was nothing there. So I wouldn't have been surprised if somewhere there and then it was, but it's weird that it's apparently it still had like a let's see, where are we? Oh, I guess we're not looking at the right thing, but it's weird that the animation thing still had something to look at. So it looks like there's something we need to clean up, because okay, so we go here, we hit delete, and then when we click this and we hit add viz, and then if we close that and we go back to here, so when it's doing the calculations, it's finding something. So something else needs to be deleted, I'm guessing. And if I remember correctly, that's in the animation service. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. And this is probably the thing that most people find the most difficult about JavaScript, is the memory management, the way memory gets allocated, and the reason things exist, and it's just really easy to get lost in that. And it's very easy to start to panic when you run into that. But if I remember correctly, this is in the animation service, and it calculates the set position. So when we added a new one, wherever it was, however it was determining the set position, was finding a viz. So as we were looping through, there's like a for each, if I remember correctly, in here. Add animation, create animation function for ID. Okay, so here, for each in this visualization, it seems like something is going wonky in here. So basically we call this set position, so here, log. And so this is a for each, right? So like when you do a for each, there's actually, let's see, I think I can just say it like this. Index and then I thought I could do that, and then call this index and number. I thought I could do that for each. Oh no, when you call it like that. So I don't think I need that one up there, because that's the whole function that you're passing it. Yeah, index and number, and then you can also give it the whole array. Vises. And then that is a st visualization array. So that's just available as part of the for each. And you just, I don't really have a good way of explaining that. It's just like something I've over time learned to sort of understand. Index. And I think there's a very high risk that our whole, like in this world building thing, that we're going to find out that something is deeply flawed that we need to go in and figure out. All right, inspect console. All right, so we shouldn't really see anything. Well, yeah, we should. Okay, so this is the array of visualizations. And it has this and all that. And we are apparently not deleting that. So if I close this, and then I go over here. Oh, I can't delete it from here. Go over here, and same thing. Right, we have our visualizations. Now I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to clear this. And then I'm going to add one. Oh, so we only have one visualization. So I wonder, see, I was thinking, oh, okay, the count. So it is, oh, wait, oh, we're looking at it in the wrong view. Oh, interesting. So over here we only had one, but now we have two. So somehow we sort of, one of them reanimated from the dead over there, because now we have two, and we have one that's sitting at 0, 100, and I'm assuming that it doesn't have, well, it does have a viz component that does not exist. And then we have this one that has a viz component that does exist, right? Because if we look in here, and we come over here, and viz component, where are you? Visualization service, view child. Oh yeah, here's our render view child. See, it has this native element. But this guy up here has a native element, but it's not up there anywhere. So this is like a ghost, or this is memory leak component that exists, and it's probably exists. I don't know why. It's weird, right? Because if we go here, and then, so we are in custom layout, right? So we go up here, we add one, and then we change layouts, and we come back, and we still have just one, because we only got to index 0. Now if we change layouts again, we just have one. But then if we change layouts and then we delete, we don't have any. Right, so it published, it did it, it never didn't find any, so it wasn't able to loop. But then we come over here. What the heck? Oh, okay. We come over here and it's gone, right? When we came over here, it's gone. And now if we add one, okay, that's weird. And then back over here. Oh, look at that. We do have, now we have 3. So sometimes whenever we change views, we end up with like one of the old ones revives, right? Because yeah, that's weird, right? And so now if we go back over here, yeah, they've all slid over because for some strange reason, this guy came back. And see, now that we look at it, unfortunately, when we look at it, it shows the current, not what it was at the time. But let's just try that again. So this is a fun one, right? So doom, 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 add viz, close that, boom. We still have 0, and this is visualization ID 8, which that's weird. What happened to visualization ID 1? Okay, I'm starting over again. Starting over again. Let's see. Add viz. Okay, for some reason it comes in twice. I'm thinking this is probably visualization. Oh, it is ID 8. Okay, so that's our first one. Maybe it's renderer ID that we, yeah, I think it's renderer ID. Okay, renderer ID 1. Visualization ID 8. Okay. So now we hit delete. Okay, we don't have anything, which makes sense that it wouldn't have ever called because there's nothing to loop through. Now we add one. Okay, so now we'll open this one up and we have visualization, well, and render ID 1. Okay, so I do believe that, yeah, when I set that, the thing that calculates things, it recycles IDs. So apparently it recycled all the IDs, which is a good thing. And now we'll close this. And now what's weird is, okay, so last time when we went from here to there, our old one was revived. Yep, and it looks like our old one is in fact revived. And it's not just that the old one is revived, it's like a new one is created. For some strange reason, changing, when I changed add got, for some reason a new one got added. A new visualization ended up getting created. And so will it create another one again? Yeah, see, it seems like, so now how many times I go back and forth. So I wonder if I delete this and I go back. Okay, so now we don't have any. See, that's wild, right? And now when I go to create one, it's weird because it's showing 2 here, so like it's like it never even. Now we have 3. So something, yeah, so for some reason, this guy's reviving. And I don't really know why. So let's go to, I think, and I'm just like grasping at straws now, but it seems like they should only get created if add render gets called. So let's just see if that is the case. I'm wondering if, like, for some reason this add render, maybe it's the signal from add renderer, because you know that is something I'm not super familiar with, is the way the signal works. There might be some sort of side effect of the way signals work. Inspect console. That will be fun if that's it. Okay, so add render got called. So we close this. Okay, so add render has not been called since then. So now let's delete this. Let's come over here. For some reason, nothing happens at this point until I add another render, until I fire off that signal. So now add renderer got called. And then for some reason, a second one was created. But add renderer wasn't called. So that is not. So whatever is causing this problem is not in, it doesn't have anything to do with add renderer. Okay, so now let's just step on through and go to the base, get base render. All renders come from get base render. So I don't even know how it would get the new numbers and everything if it didn't go through here. So for some reason, get base render seems to be getting called an extra time. Right? Because that makes sense, right? Like you wouldn't get these new IDs if you didn't call it. So for some reason, this seems to be getting called multiple times. That's my theory. Okay, so get base render got called. Does not get called again. We delete it. Doesn't get called again. We add one. Get base render only got called once, right? So, and we have our new recreated reused IDs, and then we go to here. So get base render never got called again, but we have an extra visualization with an ID of 21. All right, so create base camera, create. Okay, so let's go to create renderer. Render dict. Okay, so I honestly, I can't conceive of how those other ones getting created without getting called through the get base renderer. Because right now, I think that is the only way to run. But the only way we can create a renderer is in here. So console.log, and this is the ThreeJS stuff, right? Yeah, this is under the 3 fold. This is a 3.js. So create a 3. Well, the thing is though, we don't have a 3 renderer, right? Because when we go back, we actually don't have a 3 renderer. So I guess that it's not this guy here. Because there's only one 3 renderer. So that, it's not happening there, I don't think. So is there another way to create an S2 renderer? We are console logging the whole diction. No, we're console logging this array. Okay. How is that thing getting created? This is going to be so interesting to me, I bet you. Now I'll tell you this, like when you're at work and you have a problem like this, oh my gosh, it is just so stressful. But in this situation, it's pretty fun, or at least it should be, or you should try to learn how to make it fun to you, how to perceive it as fun. Um, okay, so this is our renderer dictionary. Right, this describes our render, our scenes, everything. Okay, so now if I go ahead and I delete it, so this is our renderer dictionary. Then I come back over here. Let's see, let's clear it. Okay, so we're not even trying to get the renderer dictionary. Now if we add one, so this is our renderer dictionary, and it has an ID of 10, which is odd because then when we look in here, oh yeah, no, ST, I feel like these are out of sync. Yeah, see, this is a renderer ID of 1, but in our renderer dictionary, we have a renderer ID of 10. The plot thickens. Render ID of 10, render ID of 1. So this is coming from animation service line 142. This is coming from renderer service. So I think animation service must have a reference to, this is a reference that's in the animation service. Okay, so let's go to the animation service. And this is one of those things where like your animate, like anything, if anything has reference to anything else, that other thing doesn't ever go away. So something is getting really wonky because animation service still has a reference to probably the ST renderer. Okay, so what line was that? That was line, let's go back to console, 142. 142. Okay, so this goes through my visualization service visualizations. So in my visualization service, apparently I have a reference to the renderer. So let's go here to go to this definition. So I have an array of visualizations in here. All right, so in this visualizations, apparently we need to delete the visualization for the renderer ID. Right, so like if I say, well, and I guess this is where it would be really nice that if instead of, was it 142? Line 142? No. Let's see. Inside of animation service, line 142. See, like, this is probably where directly interacting with the visualization service bit me in the butt, because like it'd be nice if I was like get visualizations, which isn't that hard to set up. So let me go to this, go to definition. Oh, and I already have a get visualization. Silly goose. Okay. So what would be nice about this is now I can console log anytime I get my visualizations, which is kind of nice. Console.log. Now I will give you like, I'm probably not going to dig in and figure out exactly why it's like magically recreating the visualizations. Just because like it definitely has the sense of like one of those things where we can dig and dig and dig and dig and we'll never get a satisfactory answer. It's still going to be like a big mystery, because it is weird that it like the visualizations keeps a reference to it and then somehow it ends up back in the list that it had been deleted from. That's weird. This is one of those things where like I probably have a pretty good idea of how to fix it, but I don't necessarily have a great idea of how to explain it, and I don't think we'll be very happy. Like, I don't think it'll be a very satisfying explanation if we do figure it out. So we're getting the visualizations from the animation service. So we have our visualizations, right? So if we close this and we go over here, we have our visualizations, right? I guess I should say visualizations, comma. I think if I say the visualizations length, it will length. And I'm going to tell you that I run into these problems. I've run into these sorts of problems in every single full-time position or contract position that I've ever had in any kind of enterprise environment. I mean, it is always happens. Okay, so now we're getting our visualizations, and it's got a 1. And now if we come over here to this view, so we got our visualizations, and it's a 1. So we didn't get our visualizations at this point. Come back over here, back over there. Now let's add one. Getting visualizations, and it's a 1. Now what we found is that when we go to this other view, getting visualizations, and it's a 2. So our visualization came back, which is bizarre, right? But we never got a getting visualizations in a 0. It's just so strange, right? And I think the answer is to delete the visualization, right? In the visualization service, whenever we delete the, it's just so bizarre. Well, okay, so, but that was the thing is, we did have a getting a visualizations when we first created, when we got the visualizations, and it was just 1. Right, let me try that again. Let's make sure it's doing. Okay, so I add 1. We get our get visualizations 0. We can go here. We still get visualizations. We still get visualizations. And there's one in each one of them. Okay, we delete. So we got our renders, and it's 0. We come over here. So we never get visualizations in this situation. So now we do this, and we get our visualizations, and there's only one thing in it. But I think that we are out of sync, right? So our visualization ID, our renderer ID is 1 here. And what is our renderer ID over here? But see, our renderer ID is 11. So these are definitely out of sync. For some reason, okay, so when you're over here and you haven't changed yet, it ends up it ends up working just because the number of renders and the number of visualizations are the same, and it just doesn't seem to catch that they have a different renderer ID. Oh, because we have that code that checks to see, and all it checks, the only thing it checks is that the renderer ID. I mean, it only checks that the index is the same, that there is a visualization for a renderer. Remember, we wrote that code a little while back to say, hey, you know, like, figure out where it's at and do the whole upsert thing and all that. But it doesn't actually check to make sure that the renderer ID matches. So then I guess at some point it catches that it doesn't have a visualization for the renderer ID, and it somehow fixes magically, probably not magically, if we dig in the code we'll see, but it ends up creating a new visualization for the appropriate one. So right now, see, this renderer ID is 11 in a renderer, but our renderer ID here is 1. And so now, and it'll probably update these too, but like if I go over here, yeah, so now our visualizations are 2. And one is for renderer ID 1, and then the other one is for renderer ID 11. And 1 doesn't even exist anymore. So we need to go and delete the, now how it's creating a cycle, and I don't know. I'm sure we could figure that out. And I'm sure it'd be very unrewarding to figure that out. Basically, something is seeing that the renderer, that there isn't one for the renderer ID, and creating a new one. But the fix is to, when we delete our renderer, that we also delete the associated visualization. And that would be in the visualization service. So we want to delete the visualization for renderer ID. So we have our delete component for ID, and that's because this actual Angular component might exist, but we also need to delete visualization for renderer ID, and then st renderer ID, which is a number, and it is a boolean. And then return true. And we want to go through this visualizations. And then do a for each. And then I know for a fact we do not want to leave it like this, but we're going to do this for now. And the reason we don't want to do it like this is because it's going to be a real pain in the butt to freaking unit test. And then now it's inside of a dictionary, right? Or is it an array? If it's an array, I wish it was a dictionary. Okay, so it's in this array. So we have IDs and numbers. I wonder if we use the IDs anywhere. So we do it inside, the only place we use this IDs function is inside of our unit test. So let's just go ahead and get rid of this. And that shouldn't be a problem except in the unit test. And then let's go ahead and get rid of this because it's just that much less that we have to manage. And I don't know why I had those to begin with. But it would be interesting to go back. Ooh. Visualization. So it's just this service that apparently I use the IDs in. Line 55. Okay, so that's just pushing it in there. So that doesn't, we don't need that. Like if it doesn't exist, why would we need to push anything in it? And then it looks like there's something on, oh, and that's that. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Because, you know, basically we were going to have to loop through and delete those, delete it from the IDs. And if we don't need to, we don't need to. So basically, we're going to create a const visualizations equals, it's of type st visualization, and it is an empty array. And I don't know why that's a problem. That is weird. So it's upset that I have a, oh, because I didn't make this an array. Right, so basically we want to go like this. We want to say that if the visualization is not equal to, so basically we want to say visualizations dot push visualization. So basically this is going to push every single one of them back in there, but we don't want to do every single one of them. So we're going to add if around it. And we're only going to push it to that array if the visualization dot st render ID is not equal to st render ID, right? So that's the only time we're not going to push it. And then we're going to say this dot visualizations is equal to visualizations. So basically, we're just going to add everyone back in there except that. Now we could do a map, and that would be nice, but I'm going to want to just pull all this code into its own function. And that, I think this is going to work. I guess we could do a count, a number. And then we can do visualization, this visualizations dot length or visualizations dot length. And that might actually be kind of useful to someone somewhere down in the future. But all right, so oh, we never call this thing. Okay, so now this is the name, and we want to delete the visualization for that whenever we delete our render. Right. create render service. Is this our ThreeJS render? Oh yeah, we don't want that one. Render service. Delete render. And then, does it have an animation service? Yeah. Oh no, is this not the right? Oh, it's the visualization service. I wonder if I have a visualization service over here. Okay, who deletes the render? Who calls delete render? Can I do this? Go to implementations. I've never tried this before. Go to references. I don't want to lose my what's in here. Delete version, but I want to find where this is called, because that probably has access to the visualization service. S3 rendered, that's the one we're looking at. UI service. Oh, that makes sense that it would be. The UI service would have it. Okay, so UI service. Do you have... It doesn't look like it has the render service. It was the visualization service, I think. Delete visual ID for renderer ID. Visualization service. I wonder if I can never tell if and this is probably just a really good example of a gap in my understanding, but let's see. What is this? Let's go up to the top of this guy. So I want to bring this in as a service. I would think I could do this. Okay, so over here, and then I always make this a little v, and then, so we're trying to get access to this service. Every once in a while I have a problem, like with it compiling. And whatever this problem is, it seems to only show up in actual, like when you're actually using it. It's a runtime issue. Okay, so it does not seem to be a problem. And I'm guessing I want to do it before I publish. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm slightly maybe like a 6 in understanding right now. Oops. And I think maybe some better ways of doing this will sort of present themselves during unit testing. But it seems like it's okay. Like, we create a visualization, and a visualization is what describes this box that's holding this renderer, and that's holding the renderer. So it seems like when you delete the renderer, that's a good time to also delete the box. And it seems like it's okay to sort of do them in like two, like to make this very clear, because these are two very different concepts. This is like a ThreeJS concept, and then this is an Angular concept. Um, so it seems like keeping them separate is a good idea. Now, technically, will it work? I don't know. We'll see. It should. Okay, we really want to watch the console at this point because we're at high risk of causing some kind of weird. Okay, whatever the problem was seems to be resolved. Um, it is one of those really crazy. We had a zombie piece of memory that's doing that. I'm wondering if there's some kind of thing in here that will help me sort of see if I have a zombie visualization. But I think we're good. I think that um, the like um, references, yeah, see, that was 1 and now it's 9. And then if we go into our getting visualization, see, it's visualization ID 16, and then oh, this array. And that is visualization ID 16. Oh, I think they're, well, they might be, I might be looking at the exact same thing there. But it seems like it's working right now. So I think delete is officially done. Let's see. Now, this is definitely going to break a bunch of unit tests. I mean, we deleted some entire functions that were being unit tested and stuff like that. And it's definitely going to need, we're definitely going to want to add things. Oh, I was curious. So if I add another one of these, and then I go back to here. Okay, so it seems to be, and then what I wanted to do is come back over here, add another one, and add a third one, and now delete this one. I feel like there's something really weird about these two animations, but I'm not sure. Yep. Okay. Yeah, and that's because it used its location was calculated, and now, yeah, so if I go over here and I delete this one, and then I come back over here, yeah, it's just these two. Now if I delete both of them, I come back over here, and now I add one, yeah, and it's back to the beginning. And that all makes sense to me because the way that logic is, it's like looking at the last one. So like if I added 4 and then I go to this and I delete the first 3 and then I come back over here, and then if I add one, oh, that is interesting, and I don't, it recalculated that back to 1, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to stay out there because this had a set. It shouldn't be overriding that. So that's a bug that I need to fix, that I want to fix before I walk away from delete. Because basically right now, of course, all you can do is delete. But when we edit, I want to set these positions. And then when I go back, if I've deleted the previous ones, I don't want it going back to its original one. If there's already a value there, I want to leave it. But it is neat because now we have the busy one at the front, and that, so that leaves like in the Cypress, I'll be able to do some stuff. But anyways, so yeah, so delete is almost done. We have this one bug. I definitely don't want it recalculating this position when I redraw. So it doesn't surprise me that that is broken. Um, or it's not broken. It's probably doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. But like there was really no good way to code that before because there was no way to delete it. So as we world build, we have and we add things to our world, we create new contexts that never existed before. Um, so then we have to figure out those new contexts, which was like one of the things is like we never had the ability to create a renderer, a visualization that didn't have a renderer, right? That just wasn't even a possibility. So then we had to figure out, okay, how do we deal with this new reality? So, anyways, that is, I think that was pretty good. And that's what I wanted to get done today. And that was session 2 for today. So I don't know, like I know if you watch my videos, um, you know, you might end up skipping the one previous, which is where I just set up the delete button. So the look of it, and basically just dealt with Angular material and setting up the styles and stuff like that. Um, so, anyways, that's cool. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy coding. Bye.